to 19 O'Clock News, a Kodocha podcast. My name is Mahou Shoujo M. I am here with my co-host, That Kodocha Girl, and we are joined by a very special guest today. Welcome to RetroNova.
What's up, Doc?
Love it. That's a heck of
How's
an
it going,
entrance.
everyone?
I love it.
So pumped that you're here with us. Just like full disclosure, RetroNova is actually the person that invited me to the Kodocha Discord server a year and some change ago, which is how I met Ari and really how the podcast got started. So thank you for sending that tweet, friend.
I'm glad I could.
You're in many ways the reason the podcast is here today.
Yes. Myself, I'm actually an artist, a graphic designer, retro gamer, and lover of many things retro and nostalgic. Working to turn this username, RetroNova, into a personal brand one day. I'm also looking to become a voice actor as well, as I'm pretty good with impressions. Not perfect,
But I can do a pretty mean Zenjiro.
Oh, wow.
All right.
That was
Okay.
awesome.
Let's go.
And again,
That's
I've also been
fantastic.
studying Japanese since 2020. And I'd like to think I'm making progress, but as far as I know, I'm going to have to make it my second language, and it's going to take me the rest of my life to actually be fluent.
Yep. That is a feeling I also have. Like it's just one of those things where it's like there's no end in sight for learning it. That's just something that I've committed to for the rest of forever, you know?
And I think it was like Kodocha's second season, along with like a few other things that really motivated me to start learning it more, because I want to be able to understand it one day without having to like rely on subtitles.
Lately I've been really like I've had so much sympathy, I guess, for like kids learning to read for the first time, because I'm literally like sitting there with like a manga, like sounding out, like I feel like a child again, learning to read for the first time as I'm like trying to read a different language. It's something else, because I have no gift for languages. I'm just
I
putting
understand
in the
that.
hours, you know.
So I have a question for the both of you as someone who has never really studied Japanese. I picked up on things here and there as a fan of anime and manga. But where would you all suggest someone starts if they're interested in learning Japanese? Like what
You've got to
program?
learn hiragana first.
Okay.
That's the backbone.
Yeah, definitely. I was gonna say find a tool that will help you learn at like hiragana for sure first. That prioritize that, and then katakana. Because once you get those two down, like it just makes everything else a little bit easier. And I remember when I first started learning, I felt really like I didn't want to learn it initially. I was like, oh, can't I just use like romaji, which is basically just like Japanese but with our alphabet. But it really isn't Japanese. Like, so it's good to learn the hiragana. And once you've got that, you know, and you understand the sounds and the alphabet, the rest does kind of come easier. I started with Duolingo because it is free, and that was, I think, a good starting place. I don't think I'm going to be able to like get where I want to be with Japanese with just that tool, but it was a good starting place.
For hiragana, I again learned with Japanese Pod 101. It's on YouTube, and it's actually been real helpful. It shows you all of the characters there. It's been really useful. And then I migrated over to Duolingo, and that's currently where I'm in the process of just studying through there, along with like back and forth between the actual subscription, that Japanese Pod 101 through that website there. But the YouTube like portion is totally free, and you can learn hiragana for free that way.
Yeah, there's also like that's a very cool resource, and thank you for pointing that one out, because it's not one that I'm familiar with. But as far as the hiragana goes too, I would say like you do just kind of have to drill it at some point. Like I found some like online flashcards and was just quizzing myself. And I also would go through, and I have a notebook, a scratch notebook, basically that's just me like trying my best to write the characters, which kind of helped me get them better, I think. So you're just like, you just go through like a, e, u, a, o, etc.
Yeah, and my friend's doing something similar. He's creating his own flashcard. He's actually like creating a website to make his own flashcards. He's in the process of that. And another reason why I'm like taking the time to learn it is because I want to try to visit Japan. My goal, maybe around my 30th, which is probably coming out next year, probably in July. I want to try to go to Japan then, like vacation for at least a week.
That'd be cool.
Yeah,
I hope you get to do that.
Want to check out the arcades there and hopefully find some Kodocha stuff.
Oh my gosh, I'm like I have a list of things I want to do and see when I'm there. But like I want to spend a lot of time in Mandarake,
Right.
just like going through. I want to hunt. I want to dig through vintage
Akihabara for
anime
me.
shit. Oh yeah, fair. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, Japan's really the only other place outside of the United States that I'm interested in visiting. I haven't been to many places, but that's, if I had to make a list, it's definitely number one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love travel. I wish I had more money.
Same.
Me too.
Relatable. Yeah. So that's something else we wanted to ask before we kicked off. We've been trying to get better about asking each of our guests this when they come on. We have not done that, but it's like a dream that we have is to say like, welcome to 19 o'clock news. How did you get into Kodocha?
Well, y'all really want to know?
Yes.
Unlike most of the fandom, I didn't actually get into the series until fairly recently. It was June of 2021, and I was just surfing on YouTube looking for like new stuff to watch. And as you both may know, I'm a fan of Marmalade Boy, and that kind of did help me get into it because, Sana and Akito do look similar to the main characters in that, Miki and you.
Mhm.
I mean, stop me if you've heard it before.
I mean, I think I've made my feelings about Marmalade Boy clear in the Discord server. But for those listening, I can't stand Marmalade Boy, but I understand the appeal. Like if I would have gotten into it when I was younger, I totally would have been into it. I came off of it watching Kodocha first, and I feel like that ruined it for me.
And that's probably my take because again, I was in middle school. Was that when I was introduced to Marmalade Boy, and when I actually watched Kodocha, it's kind of been hard to get back into Marmalade Boy.
Mm-hmm. I have never seen it, so I have no opinion, but it's so interesting, to be friends with both of you and have known you for a while and to have witnessed variations on this conversation a little bit over the year. And just to truly have no opinion and just be like, interesting. You both feel so strongly.
And comparing to other series, another thing that got me hooked was realizing, because again, I also watched Fruits Basket, that Sana was voiced by Laura Bailey, who not only voiced Taru Honda, but I don't know if you both are Street Fighter fans, but she was also the voice of Chun-Li for like Street Fighter 4 all the way to like the final years of Street Fighter 5. She and her husband, like Travis Willingham, is that how he pronounced his name? They've both been recast. He played Guile, and he was also Knuckles the Echidna. And I think his last role as both was actually in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
All right. Yeah, she shows up in everything.
Oh yeah.
Does. I feel like they're both so busy.
You really want to know who shows up in everything? Monica Ryle and Greg Aries.
Yeah.
They were everywhere around this time.
And now I'm like, every time I pick up a series, I'm like, is that? And it's Greg Ayres every freaking time. Monica Rial has such a distinct voice. I can pick it out really immediately because it's so
Oh yes. Kaoru, Nagisa, Hazuki, and Free.
Mine, Fruits Basket, our obligatory Fruits Basket mention.
And the familiarity kept going as John Bergmeyer was Shigure, Ray,
everybody
also voices Ray, and Jerry Joel, the voice of Kyo, was Akio.
You know, it was a huge revelation to me was my husband and I started watching Yu Hakusho last year or the year before, I can't remember.
I've been meaning to get back in that show. I actually used to watch it back when it was on Toonami.
It's really good. I was very impressed by it. I think it might be my favorite shonen series, but like there's this one character, I don't know if you remember him. His name is Jin, and he talks with like a Scottish accent, and he's basically like a demon. And he uses wind to fight. And like it hit me all of a sudden when we were watching it one night. I'm like, oh my God, that's Jerry Jewell doing a Scottish accent.
Incredible.
And you know, I'm male, but I've always kind of preferred shoujo over shonen. Like, I grew up with both Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball Z on Toonami, but somehow just always favored Sailor Moon more.
I mean, I have I think an unfair bias towards shoujo, but all I'm hearing is that you are a man of taste. Like, please.
Yeah, and honestly, I see with Sana's personality, this may be a stretch, but I see a lot of Minako Iono. How do you pronounce her name? Minako, Sailor V, Sailor Venus.
Oh yeah, Minako, I know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And a
My
tad
girl.
bit of Clampett era Daffy Duck.
Okay. All right.
You know, I'm a huge Warner Brothers fan, so again, Kodocha's comedy also, like, that's what kept me around.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
Like, I've never seen an anime that was that wild before. I think Akazukin Cha-Cha like comes close, but again, Kodocha also had the benefit of being like in English, so that also helped.
What I love about Kodocha though is like, you know, I watched the anime first. I didn't finish
Same.
I didn't finish it though. I kind of went to the manga after I heard that like, oh, season 2 isn't that great, and then like the bad subtitles that we used to have, and but like I love how, you know, the show gives off that crazy zany vibe. But it also manages to be it just really
so
tug at your
grounded
heart.
in reality, yeah.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
My favorite genre of anything is comedy that makes you cry every now and again. Like,
Me
yes,
too.
make me feel.
Wow.
And that it does.
Mhm.
So, I guess perhaps we should consider focusing on the topic for the episode and getting into it. What do you all think? Okay, so today we are going to be talking about filler in the anime, specifically focusing on season 1. So we all went through and kind of picked our top 5 best and top 5 worst season 1 filler episodes. And filler episodes are standalone episodes that are not part of an arc functionally. So just disclaimer, like Takeshi Gojo arc was not under consideration for this worst filler. Neither was like the homelessness arc. Anything that was 3 or more episodes was not up for consideration. And anything that happened in the manga, for the most part, was not up for consideration. Those were roughly our ground rules, right?
That's
Yes.
correct.
So should we start with the negative and then end on a high note?
Yeah.
I was sitting here like, I don't know which would be better, but I guess ending on a high note would be
Yeah.
fine.
Otherwise, it's just going to be me dunking on like
Woo!
clip show episodes for the last 30 minutes. So
Oh
maybe
boy.
we should just start there.
Yeah.
So we made our lists, and it was really interesting seeing like where there was overlap and where there wasn't between the 3 of us. I think we all have different relationship with the show, and then also different feelings of affection towards the anime. Like I, am a manga girly first, always. And so like for me, the filler that I like is filler that like expands on the universe that Obana created. And the stuff I don't like is stuff that I think really deviates too hard from the source material. But I know that you guys are a bit more open to some of those deviations for the comedy.
Mhm.
You know?
Oh
Is
yeah.
that relatively accurate?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So who wants to go first with their number 5 spot pick?
I'll go first.
All right.
Now, this may be an odd one, but I chose karate and trumpet compete for a kiss. Now, hear me out. I don't like the way it portrayed Naozumi in that episode. Like, how I don't like how condescending they made him out to be towards Akito and how he tried to like have their middle birthday party canceled. Like, dude, did you even consider like her other friends that wanted to go? I understand that Naozumi's a rival to Akito, but that that kind of like
It's
that was
not true to
overkill.
his character.
Right.
I had forgotten about the subplot with the middle birthday. Was mostly remembering like when I think about that episode, I think about like Sana being really panicked about like the kiss for the commercial, and then it just being a cheek kiss. It's like I had completely forgotten about the other aspects of that episode.
I mean, you could argue that in like his second episode, that's the reason you'll never be a match for her could also be like considered on a little too much, but I just feel like it's kind of overkill here.
It's fair.
If you know
Like
what I'm saying.
Naotsumi is a dramatic character. Like that boy cannot exit a room without like saying something like bad shit.
But at the
Or
same
sorry.
time, he's a great character.
Oh, I love him.
He's better
He's
than
my
that.
son. Like
Like
it's my child.
so what does that make? So what does that make him to Lee? Boy.
I don't know. I know Lee, number one Naozumi camera fan. Yeah, I don't. I hear you. He's a great character, and you're
he
right in
tries,
that it is a weird take on him for that episode.
and like later in the manga, he does try to patch things up with Akito for Sana's sake. Like again, towards the end, where the whole doll syndrome thing happens.
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes, he tries, but even then, he just can't help himself. He's got to say something before he goes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's our boy.
Yeah,
And I
I'll be
love that
honest,
about
when
him.
I saw this episode on your list, I was a bit surprised because
Yeah.
it's always been one that I've enjoyed. But I really never thought about that before, but it does make sense. It's a bit too extreme for him, even for him
Mhm.
being dramatic. So I get it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Fair and solid number 5 pick.
Thank
A
you.
nice perspective. TKG, do you want to go?
All
Or do you
right.
want me to
So
go?
can I combine my number 4 and 5?
Yes,
Come on.
you can.
Yeah.
Okay. So for the last two on my list, or actually it's 4 and 5, so it's not at the top or the last ones, technically, I guess. I chose Here She Comes, Mama's Mama, and Take Me to Kusatsu.
Kusatsu.
Yeah.
You got it.
I don't know, like the grandma is funny, but
Mm-hmm.
I just found her episodes to be really boring.
Yeah,
Um,
same here.
So it's not really the reason they're at the bottom of my list and they're not like in the top 3 is because it's not that I didn't really not enjoy them or find them annoying. It's just they just were meaningless to me. Like it just, I don't know. It's definitely not the best of the filler. It's very mid compared to the rest of the filler in season 1.
And for anyone who says like Tsuyoshi kind of reminds him of Umino, that Toriyama Noboru kid is
Yeah.
pretty much like Umino on steroids. How can I put
Yeah.
it that way?
Real. Same face. Absolutely. You're so right about that.
Yeah, God, that
thought
kid
it
was
was-
annoying.
Yeah. And can I give a spoiler to the audience, RetroNova, about
Sure.
part of your list? So these episodes are also on RetroNova's number 5 list, but placed a little bit higher. And I thought it was really interesting that both of you had chosen those episodes as, some of the worst of Kodocha season 1 filler. Because for me, they were very mid, and so they actually fall kind of in the middle of my list. Like,
Truthfully, I can't say I really hate any of these episodes, but they're just lower on my list.
I feel the same way.
Okay. It's so interesting because the concepts that these episodes introduce, like, Misako's mom, the onsen. I think all of that it's an interesting take. And like for me, I'm like, oh, that's just like excellent groundwork for like fan fiction nonsense. Especially the Take Me to Kusatsu, like the episode where like the Hayamas are also at the hot springs. I'm like, road trip romance, like let's go. And then they didn't fulfill any of my dreams, but like it would have been fun if they did.
I was gonna quote Shizuka, like she said, like days lead to weeks, weeks lead to months, and then one day you turn around and find years have gone by. Yeah, so she's an amazing character, but yeah, the episode wasn't exactly spectacular.
It's fair. That's an interesting take from both of you. I appreciate that thought.
For me, it was actually really hard picking my top 5 worst. My top 5 best, it was no contest for me. But top 5 worst, because there's not really any that I despise other than my number 1, which we'll get to. But
it's also my number 1. So,
but yeah, it's got solid filler because, like you said, the comedy in it is solid, and so it's enjoyable even if it's not relevant to the plot. So it didn't bother me at all.
My number 5 for like 5th worst, and I do feel bad about this one also because I think it's an episode that our guest enjoys, but it's not one that I enjoy, and it's episode 22, Karate Heart, Quitting Blues, which is about Akito first starting karate lessons and Sana briefly wondering if she should quit acting. And part of the reasons I don't like the episodes is because it's a dramatic device that the anime uses a few times where they're like, Sana's gonna quit acting, woo, and it's like, okay, like they have a tendency of portraying her as much more immature of a like actor than she is, and like they make her be a lot more unprofessional than she is in the manga. And that is why I don't like the episode, because to me it kind of goes against the grain of what we know from the manga.
I don't think it fits her character at all. And I noticed that too today when I was watching some of the filler. Like I can't remember what episode it was, but it wasn't that one. I was watching one of the later ones that come up before the Christmas Kiss episode. But they use that plot device, and I'm just kind of thinking, like, here we go again. Like it's like she's not gonna quit. Like, why do they keep threatening that? Like, no. It's really annoying.
Yeah, and like she's been
in hindsight, yeah, I probably should have realized that. Because
I mean, if you enjoy the episode, you enjoy the episode, my friend. Like, I'm not telling you you're wrong. This is just why I personally don't like it. Like,
well, I understand.
But if it's something that I'm like, come on. Like, if you enjoy the episode enough for it to like be one of the ones that you go back to, like,
for me, I can say that it's kind of like a breather episode after like all the intensity like between the My Daughter and I arc.
That's a good point. Because I don't often consider where these episodes are placed, especially since like the filler stretches in this season, they do kind of go for a while. But you're right. It's in terms of placement, it is.
I really loved Natsumi's reaction to like when Akito actually like shows manners.
Fair.
Yeah.
What a concept.
I'm actually a fan of this episode as well. Like, despite that trope that they keep using, I still enjoyed it. Like, it kind of gives you more insight into Akito's growth a little bit too, which I enjoyed. And like you said, it was a good breather, after everything that's happened, Akito's drama at the very beginning, finding her mom, it was kind of nice.
Heck, arguably the whole thing with Ko, like, back at the orphanage.
Yeah.
Even though that was itself a breather episode.
Yeah, but it was kind of nice to kind of go back to, like, I guess the personal lives, like, kind of see what's going on, with each of the characters individually and like what they're working on in their life.
And just everyone else going into panic mode that she's quitting.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm not gonna quit.
I think this was the first time it happened though, but like I said, it gets annoying like in retrospect because they keep doing it and it's not true to her character.
Right.
So that's our number 5 placements. Do we want to do our number 4s?
Sure.
Yeah.
All right. What is your
Sunny
worst?
with an occasional disappearing? Yeah. Again, this one is pretty boring. And again, why are they bringing Sana's birth mother back and her daughter for that matter? What was her name again?
Mariko.
Mariko and Keiko. Yeah. And
yeah.
Hey, at least we get to see her husband this time around, but still, like,
why?
Yeah.
This one was like probably number 6 down. Like this was so close to being in my bottom 5. Like also because like I think it takes away from the power of Sana finishing that arc with her birth mother and being like, exactly. It was nice to meet you, but you're not my mom and I don't really want a relationship with you. 3 episodes later, like
she openly acknowledges like Mariko as her young little sister. Like, yes. Why?
So out of character.
Yeah.
Ugh.
I also didn't like the whole plot in that episode where like she's with Sanjiro and just making his life miserable for the whole episode. Like that, I found that to be irritating.
Yeah. I do sometimes get exhausted on behalf of Sanjiro. Like, poor guy just can't, like, they just, every episode that features him somewhat heavily, it's always him getting like pulverized by something.
Trust me when I say that was hell.
Yeah, exactly. Like, oh my gosh.
The only time it's really funny is whenever like Ando, or not Ando, is her name Ando? Or is it on? Yeah, yes. I always Ando, but
Sumire
like,
Ando.
Anytime like she comes in and like starts doing like limbo or like gushing over him is usually funny, but that's about the only time when his pain is laughable.
I agree. Let's Limbo is always a good joke.
Yeah.
My number 4 is episode 31, A Snake Came Slithering, which is about the snake reporter and the like subplot with the tabloid stuff. A lot of I get kind of tired sometimes in the anime with their portrayal of the entertainment industry. And this is part of that for me, is I'm like, I'm so tired. Like all of there's always like Sana's been blacklisted from working. Sana's going to quit acting. Sana's going to like, okay, like,
okay.
All right. Like it just, I'm tired. And that's sort of how this episode made me feel.
Not to mention Kurosaki's kind of creepy. It's like that whole thing with Natsumi. Like he actually mentions that he's going to come back later and even visit her school. Like that's disturbing.
Yeah, he's definitely gross. And then it's also like, especially too with the Takeshi Gojo arc, they're like, who we need to bring back?
Oh, jeez.
This guy. And I'm like, why? Who asked for this?
I have mixed feelings about him as a character. Like, I feel like he could have been like a really interesting anime villain character in Kodocha.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But he just kind of shows up for this episode, Takashi arc, and then you never see him again. And like, because I thought his gimmick was funny. Like he'd make those like exaggerated fases that were really
Babbitt. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Like I thought that was funny.
Oh, man. Yeah, man. Same here.
But yeah, I found it to be a little disappointing, if I'm being honest. Like I don't hate that episode. I understand your exhaustion with it because like they do bring it up too many times in the anime. I feel like the entertainment industry trying to exploit Sana or coming after people or trying to blacklist them. But again, it was more for me just disappointment that like he didn't, maybe become like an actual threat. Which I mean, what are you gonna do in a shoujo anime that's
at the same time, he could have been a good guy, but he
Yeah.
didn't even do that. Like you heard that Misako like actually noticed that he takes good photos. So why are you just in a sewer?
Hmm.
And
I
he
thought
has
they
kids too.
Yeah, I thought they were gonna go further with that, but they didn't, and it was just
Yeah, we
disappointing.
never saw them again. Like,
Like he
Yeah.
doesn't like he doesn't reform, but at the same time, he's not as strong as a villain.
Hmm.
mm.
It was lower
Uh,
on my list too, so yeah.
I'm that okay, cool. Because like I was kind of like, oh, do I just have like, I don't know, weird taste? Probably yes. Oh, number 3 placements.
My number 3 on my worst Kodocha episode list was Pity Me and Cough Up Some Dough. So
Ugh.
this is an episode featuring Misako's ex-husband, who's very greedy. He's always asking for money. He's in debt all the time.
Hey,
And
got any money?
and I just found this episode to be unnecessary and just really boring. And I thought it was one of those that was like, no, I'm a big fan of really outlandish things.
Right.
Like I love outlandish comedy, but I felt like this plot line in this one was a bit too much for me. Like you had this whole thing where like the whole time they're being threatened, quote unquote, with a guy, and he's got like a gun in his jacket, and they think the mafia is after them, basically. And it turns out that they're just like an entertainment industry or something. I can't remember. It was like an
Something like
entertainment,
that.
yeah, a group that does shows. And it was just like, why?
Like
Like
even
this is so stupid.
like even Sana, Akito, and Siyosha are all like, what the heck?
Yeah, this one
And
also
they're
ranked pretty low for me. I just find Ryosuke a really annoying character. And also, like, I don't know, like, we don't get a lot of information in canon about, like, Misako's ex, but I just think that she would not have ever married someone so cheesy, you know? Perhaps more nefarious than cheesy, in my mind. I don't know about you guys.
yeah, I can probably see that.
Yeah, me too.
Like, is this is the man that inspired the Aoki laureate winning book, The Gigolo and I? Like, please. This man? This garbage truck? Are you kidding? Okay.
Oh boy.
Well, she was really young at the time, so
True.
we're all
And she
little
regrets
cuckoo for
it.
Cocoa Puffs at the time.
Listen,
Mhm.
when I was 18, maybe I did date some garbage trucky cheesy
We all
cheese
did.
ball guys, but
We all did. I like the girl that I probably shouldn't have.
oh, yep, all been there. Rite of passage.
Mhm.
Ugh. So that was your number 3. RetroNova, do you want to do your number 3?
The Hyamoffs and Ooga Booga Boo.
Blech.
Oh boy.
Ari and I got thoughts.
Again, I will give it credit that at least they try to do something different here with the whole segmented episode formats, like the ones that are usually shown in like Dexter's Laboratory and all sorts of those other Western cartoons. But yeah, this felt unnecessary.
I
Yeah,
agree.
I have a lot of thoughts on this, so
You're gonna save them?
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I think
Okay.
that just spend the
Yeah.
last part of that just trashing it.
Don't worry, I'll be joining you. So
Count me
that's
in
definitely
too.
fair. There you go. Well, my number 3 choice is kind of unpopular opinion, I think, but it's episode 20, Sana's Super Happy Quiz Show, which is the kind of clippy show-esque episode from the middle of the series. And I don't have like a great reason for not liking this other than that I just don't like clip show episodes. I think that they're lazy. And I understand like their purpose in TV as sort of a stopgap of sorts to help people get through difficult production schedules, etc. There's lots of reasons for clip show episodes. But oh my God, I
I
hate
think the reason
recaps, you know? If I wanted a recap episode, I would have been a shonen fan.
Oh
Okay.
boy, you'd hate Street Fighter 2V like half. You'd hate that. You'd hate that.
Probably. I have very little patience for last time on, and then we do that for 20 minutes. I'm like,
Like they
oh,
do, like they do like half. They don't even bother covering the whole series. They just do like half the series up until that point, and then just it. Then the rest of the episode's not even a clip show episode anymore. They just go back to the main plot. Like
oof.
go
That's
go in or nothing. And I think it's because that like had like a troubled development.
mm, that makes sense.
Mhm.
Like every show, I mean, you'd be hard pressed to find anything, I think, Western, not Western, that doesn't have some sort of clip show episode, at least one in it, from the 90s, the world over. Everybody was doing it. But
I
I
mean,
still
like
in
even some of the old
your
Looney Tunes, like even some of
yeah,
the old Looney Tunes cartoons had like clip show shorts that pretty much fill the same purpose.
yeah, like I get it. It's just that here today in the year of our Lord 2023, I don't want to watch it because I want plot.
Especially in the
Um,
world where we have like instant streaming access. They're
oh
kind of
yeah.
unnecessary now.
Yeah, that I know that's something else that you're absolutely right that we should acknowledge. That's part of its place in history is also just like recapping for new people what the heck happened last time
Especially
on. So,
last time on Dragon Ball Z.
yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Naruto and Naruto Shippuden have the worst like flashback episodes. Like just thinking about it makes me exhausted
Oh boy.
because yeah, it's my husband and I are watching it right now, and it's a lot more fun when you're watching it with somebody else. But like we were there for a while, and my husband insisted that we watched every single episode. And
Oh boy.
Mm.
and I'm down with that, but at the same time, I just like we were getting into the final arc of the series with if you're familiar with the story Madara and the infinite Tsukiyomi, and there's so many like little like flashbacks to the past and like but they're flashbacks that we've already seen like multiple times, and oh my gosh, it's so bad.
I
And
can't.
it made me hate Naruto for a month or two.
Oh
I
wow.
didn't want to watch it anymore.
I can't imagine what One Piece would be like, or even
I
Pokemon.
know, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Hmm.
long runners, huh?
I know it. I'm like, One Piece is one of those things where it's like every One Piece fan I know like loves it. And like, and there's got to be something good about it for it to have been running for 1,005 years as it has been.
Right.
But it's also just one of those things that I'm like, I'm so happy for you guys. I
You
would
know,
never
Right.
catch up and I will not be I will not even try. Like,
Right. Same
at
here.
least Naruto had the courtesy of breaking up their basically in segments. So you have the first series of Naruto. It's still long, it's still like 500 episodes. I think that one's a bit shorter than Shippuden, but I don't know. I appreciate that as a fan. It makes wanting to watch it less daunting. But the fact that One Piece is just kind of stretched over a long period of time without having like, a different series title. I think Sailor Moon does this as well. They have like Sailor Moon R, Sailor Moon S.
yeah.
But it's just like, I don't know. If One Piece had that going for it, I might be more interested in watching it. But because it's just they have the name One Piece over 1,000+ episodes, it just is like, yeah, I don't think I can do this.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right with the breaking it up into different series is super helpful. But it's like even Sailor Moon, like 90 Sailor Moon is pretty long for a shoujo. But even that doesn't even touch. Like One Piece had a dub that was airing on Saturday morning cartoons when I was like 7 years old.
Mhm.
And it is still freaking running. That's insane. Like,
Like
and
Pokemon just booted Ash.
I know that took them a
Saw
while.
that.
I yeah.
Like they honestly
I
should have done that. Like if they like during the advanced series.
Mhm.
I remember thinking at the time that was what they were working towards.
Because
but then,
Yu-Gi-Oh!
Another 20 years.
Because Yu-Gi-Oh! And Digimon did the same thing. Why didn't Pokemon?
Honestly, Digimon is a can of worms for me because I really love Digimon Adventure. So I'm like, do we want to open the can? Do you want to hear my thoughts?
I think I'll
stay focused on Kodocha.
Yep.
Sure.
Okay. So we went through our number 3s. Is it time to do our number 2s?
Yeah, I guess
I might
I'll
just throw
start.
my hat in on that one if you don't mind, because
Go ahead.
No,
Sure.
just because y'all's have been touched on briefly already.
Okay.
So just wrap up my last little thought there, which is my other least favorite episode is episode 51, Goodbye Yesterday, Hello Tomorrow, the last episode of season 1, wherein we do yet another clip show, this time with the characters basically doing a will they, won't they conversation about Sana and Akito. And it's just one that I skip when I watch the show now.
I'll just say this one thing I did like about Sana's Super Happy Quiz Show. It was like surreal having them all in a game show, like just answering all these questions about like the previous sagas, even though it like didn't touch on anything concerning like the Mama and I arc. But with Goodbye Tomorrow, but that was also a recap like episode, not exact. It was a clip show, but not exactly. This one is a straight up clips show where you just have like random episodes, like Goodbye Yesterday, Hello Tomorrow. And to be fair, it didn't seem as like surreal as like the characters all in a game show, all in this game show. You gotta forgive me. Like I do like Sonic Super Happy Quiz Show just because of the game show concept alone. That's something you don't see characters do. Like,
yeah, it's I think we've offlined about this a little bit. Like it is super creative, and I have to like give it props for that. It's just like I would have rather them taken the money they spent making that episode and have done literally anything else. So that's just me, and it's not a violent dislike as much as it is just sort of like I'm tired and I don't want to watch this
and
kind of thing.
Yesterday, Hello Tomorrow just seems kind of stale in comparison.
Oh, it absolutely is, which is why it ranks higher on my hated list than Sana Super Happy Quiz Show.
And remember that this is the last episode that was dubbed, and while the last episode was better off as a finale for the dub, this one just kind of seems forced. It's like a bonus episode at best.
Mm-hmm. Real. Yes, agreed. Poor dub.
Honestly, this one is very forgettable for me. Like I forget it exists most of the time out of all the episodes, including season 2. Like I'm like, oh yeah, that one weird little filler clip show at the end of the Takashi arc. Oh yeah. like for some reason my mind always goes like straight to middle school after Takashi without that episode being in between.
And and the worst part is it seemed like they were even going to dub that episode. Like, I can't wait to see how this one turns out. And then nope.
That was upsetting.
And then they released the DVD with the title, That's a Wrap.
Yeah.
I'm fine. It's fine. I'm fine. I'm holding on to some feelings there. It's okay. We're safe now. We all own the Blu-rays. It's okay.
A moment of silence though for the English dub of season 2.
And I will be honest, I wasn't going to get the second season at first, but then when one of your I forgot which episode it was, but the one where you all were pretty much pleading with everyone to go get it, that's kind of where I changed my mind.
Yes.
Oh no. Well, I mean, hey, I guess it worked. Question.
And I'm kind of glad that I did.
Thank you for supporting Discotheque and Kodocha in the United States.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Thank you with your wallet.
It needs that representation.
It does. I want those sales numbers up, baby. I want a manga reprint next.
True, right.
I'm not going to get it if nobody buys these Blu-rays.
Right. It's gonna happen sooner or later.
I know.
It's gonna happen sooner or later.
I gotta hold on to the hope.
Mhm.
It's good that I surround myself with people like you, both of you, who are so optimistic about the future of Kodocha in the West, because I'm just old and tired and grumpy.
Well, I'm a lot like RetroNova in that sense. I'm actually a relatively recent fan. Only been a fan since 2016. And you've been a fan since 2000.
2006.
Yeah,
Wow.
I understand your exhaustion there.
So we literally have fans in the server that were born after I started watching Kodocha.
Wow. Wow, that's crazy.
I don't want to talk about it. Who wants to go next?
Okay,
Where did we stop?
With
number
our
two.
Number two.
Oh, okay.
So I'll go ahead and do mine. We already talked about this episode a bit. My number two was Sunny with occasional disappearing. So we talked a bit about that earlier on Retro Nova's list. So this is the episode where Sana's biological mom comes back and her daughter slash sister goes missing and causes havoc for Zenjiro and the TV studio, and it's just really annoying episode. But we already covered that.
It's the badly battered babysitter trope.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
On the note of tropes, if you have ever looked at the TV tropes page for Kodocha, RetroNova is who we thank for all of that work. So to our audience, you are just letting everybody know in case they don't know.
I didn't know. Thank you.
If you go on TV tropes, a lot of it is my work. Believe it or not.
That's awesome, because I've used that a few times for some of my videos, so thank you.
Yeah, trust me. I kind of breathed life into it. And I also updated the episode list for Wikipedia, so it shows Funimation's episode titles for season 1, disco text titles for both seasons, and the Japanese text as well. Still got to work on the manji stuff, but again, that's in progress.
That's
there
awesome.
You go.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for
so again, there was definitely a benefit to getting the second Blu-rays.
There you go. Glad you did it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyways, sorry. I got us distracted when I heard the word trope and I just had to work that in there.
Oh, yeah.
So we already talked about Sunny with occasional disappearing, so we don't have any other thoughts to add on that episode?
No, I don't have anything.
Cool. Then, RetroNova, do you want to talk about your top 2 worst episodes?
Again, here she comes, Mama's Mama, and Take Me to Kotsatsu. Pretty much the same thing that's been said before. They're just kind of weaker episodes in comparison. Do love Shizuka. She's an amazing character. But yeah, even the methods to her modest aren't exactly the greatest. It is kind of touching that she does consider Sana worthy enough to be a successor to the N, even though that she's not a Kurata by blood. Because in a lot of other in a lot of other shows, they need to be the actual blood type or something.
It's interesting too, because adoption is very uncommon in Japan. It's just the majority of adoptions in Japan are actually adult adoptions, typically for business reasons, or actually as a way to skirt around issues with marriage equality. And so it's kind of a funny thing, but because gay couples in Japan can really only get married depending on the prefecture that you live in, what they will do is the older of the person in the couple will adopt the younger, so that they get at least similar rights that a family member would get. So if they're hospitalized or something like that, they can go visit them and things like that. So it's kind of an odd, strange workaround that they've been employing for years. So there you go.
Something I never really thought about.
A fun fact on adoption in Japan that nobody asked for, but here you go.
Hey, the more you know.
Yeah.
Ta-da. Okay. All right, is it time to talk some trash?
Yeah, I've been
I'm
waiting for
ready.
this all
Let's
day.
go. We hate the same episode, and it is
Hayamas and Ooga Booga Boo.
episode
Ba-da-ding,
39.
Uh,
Ugh.
I hate it.
I just, yeah, it is super annoying. I like see what they were going for, trying to do the like more Western cartoon two-part thing.
But they had to like make it like the stupidest subject matter. So the Hayamas. So that actually comes from a side story in the manga. I think it's in volume 1. And it's basically like a dream Sana has, which in the manga, I don't like it there either, but at least it makes somewhat sense. Like it's a weird dream that Sana had, and I get that. That's a good premise for a short story. But like here, I don't think we get that. It's a dream, and it's just a really annoying episode. I think it's not funny at all to me. There's not any like of that slapstick comedy that we get really in the other episodes, or at least they try and they fail. But really, this episode, like the icing on the crap cake of the episode, is the Ooga Booga Boo part, because it's literally just like the first couple episodes of Kodocha, but like they're all cavemen and women, and it's
Flintstones
like,
done
what?
wrong. Flintstones done wrong.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, even Captain Caveman was more fitting than this.
It's also just like the placement of it within the broader season is such a bummer, because you have like the episode right before it is episode 38, a special Christmas kiss, or thump thump for Christmas. My God, that is such a tongue twister. A kiss for Christmas, and so like you have that great episode, and then that, and it's like, oh my God, yeah. It's a skip for me. I never watch it anymore.
Yeah, I tried watching it this morning just for the episode tonight, and I couldn't get through it. I turned it off. I'm like, I'm not doing this.
It's like, no. It's kind of, now this is kind of an interesting question. I know we said we were going to try to keep this focused to season 1, but the episode's kind of fresh on my brain because we just watched and talked about season 2. What do you think about like the season 2 equivalent episode, which has the 2 stories in it, the one where like Sana's a skunk and Naozumi is a toilet seat urinal prince?
I thought that one was funnier. We've talked about it. I think we talked about it on the last podcast episode. But I thought they did well with the comedy in that one. Like that was absurdity done well, in my opinion.
Oh yeah.
But like the Hayamas and Ooga Booga was just like, it was pointless to me. Like it wasn't even funny. It was just, why? But like the Mecha Mom, like you have like the references to the other anime in it.
Like the magical princess and the nurse angel from like Akazukin Cha-Cha and Nurse Angel Rebecca SOS.
Mm-hmm.
I was just curious what y'all's thoughts were. Thanks.
Yep.
Should we talk about our top 5 favorite filler episodes, or the best filler episodes?
Let's do it.
All right. Now this one we have a bit more overlap, though I think our orders are a little different. But there'll be a little bit more folks with a similar opinion. So I'm kind of like looking at this list right now, like, okay, how do we order the conversation in a way that makes sense?
I was just doing that too.
I'm like, Should we talk about the 2 episodes that we all 3 agree are in the top 5, and then explain our placements for them?
I think that's a good idea.
Is that a thing that works? Which one do we want to do first?
I'll let you choose.
We're gonna flip a coin if I'm choosing, because I can't make decisions.
Boy! How
about let's stay in the realm of absurdity for now and talk about Every Chicken Has Its Day.
All right, happy Pyoko Day.
Yeah. No. Let me tell the story, okay? Yeah. So I was making Pyoko memes for fun, and I was like gonna schedule them on Twitter. And I'm like, I wonder when that episode aired for the first time. I looked it up and it was September 27th. And I was like, oh my gosh. All right, perfect timing. Let's do this.
Wow.
Yeah, so I ended up making a bunch of Pyoko memes and basically had like a quote unquote event on my Twitter page called Pyoko Day. And yeah.
It was chaotic and I loved every minute of it.
Long story short, yeah.
Or just go, like how Sana and Aya double teamed Akito for pretty much telling Aya, for almost revealing that the egg was fake. Yeah. And just Aya of all people, like pounding him.
It's a good one. Okay, so yeah, so on that note, so Every Chicken Has Its Day, episode 26, that one made all 3 of our top 5 lists. For me, it came in number 5. And for you guys, it ranked number...
Yes, for me, it was number 3.
It was number 3 for me.
Yeah, so very, we all enjoy this episode. Especially because I think what I like about it is that, they took like a throwaway panel from the manga and we're like, what if we did a whole episode on Pyoko the rooster? And I love that. Because I think there's it's a real a throwaway, Tsuyoshi's like, remember that chicken? We got rid of it, and that's kind of the end of that. But I like the journey that Pyoko goes on as a character.
Oh yes. And Misako being driven to insanity.
Always.
Why won't you let me sleep?
That's our girl.
That chicken is breakfast. Out of my way.
All chickens must die.
Oh man, she's not wrong though. Have you guys ever met chickens in life?
No, I haven't actually.
Okay, they're they're awful.
Once.
Every Chicken Has Its Day. Any other thoughts on Every Chicken Has Its Day?
Gotta love when Aono just comes in, and again, she just greets her brother and Sana and Aya, but then she just goes like, hi Akito, just brushes him off.
I love Aono.
Oh yeah.
She's a precious baby, and I also like how sweet Akito is with her, particularly in the manga. That always warms my little heart.
He treats her like a younger sister too. It's cute.
I think it's wholesome.
And hey, just have Zenjiro marry the rooster.
I'm not sure about how he's staring at me.
I don't know how I feel about that. That thing's staring at me.
Well done.
I think that might be my favorite moment in the whole episode, just because it's zooming in on its weird expression, it's about to go on a murderous rampage through the studio.
Gosh. The other one we all agreed on was episode 28, the romantic love song of Mr. Hayama.
He's some weirdo, that Mr. Hayama. He's some weirdo, that Mr. Hayama.
I love it. I love that episode for so many reasons. Hayama Chichi joining the rap is absolutely one of my favorite things that has ever happened ever. In the anime period.
Why am I a
Fuyuki super fan? Yeah.
And immediately afterwards, he doesn't even realize that she was there despite rapping with her a second earlier.
God bless. It's so chaos. It's and it's so funny too, because I think that's an episode that had the opportunity, I think, to be more sad and serious, but then it's also got some of the most crazy things in, I think, maybe not in the whole series, but we've got a spectrum here. We see both sides of it in this episode. For me, I ranked it number 4 of my top best filler episodes. How about you guys?
Number 5 for me.
Number 1 for me.
Dang, that is tool praise.
And you just gotta love how Sana goes in the full spam mode once all it takes is for Akito to just smirk and smirk. I heard that, Mr. Smart Mouth. And then she's like, they don't call her Motor Mouth for nothing. where she's just ranting away and then even like threatening to knock out Tsuyoshi just for like pushing her back.
Yeah,
man.
I love everything about this episode. I love the comedy in it. I love the fact that we get to see some flashbacks to Akito's mom. And I also love the fact that like the whole time like Sana, Natsumi, and Tsuyoshi are like freaking out about this woman and like, oh my gosh, it's Mr. Hayama's new girlfriend, and then like they find out it's a family friend, but throughout most of the time, like Akito just does not give a crap at all about what's going on, and I find that really funny.
We love communication breakdowns. Thank you, TV.
Oh boy. Doesn't always work, but sometimes it can make for some funny situations.
Oh yeah.
This was just one of them.
Kodocha would be one volume if San and Akito had a healthy communication.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Like,
oh man.
roll credits. Everybody can go home now. I love this episode. I love a Koharu feature because she gets like no screen time in the anime or in the manga.
Right.
And I'm like, considering that at the time that the episode came out, they didn't. I guess like I don't think Obana had written the chapter about that features Koharu for the manga. Like I think that they did a pretty good guess on like what she would be like, and like a lady who likes a snack. That resonates with me. So yeah, great episode. Glad we all liked that one.
Mm-hmm.
But it is interesting to see like where the overlap is for all of us.
Okay, so the episode that Em and I share on our top 5 favorite filler episodes is A Bandage for a Broken Heart. So this is episode 25, and this one features the character of Mamie. So it's basically about her. She's taking care of a rabbit. I think his name is Kyosuke. Kurosuke. Mm-hmm. And she's dealing with her feelings related to Akito in this episode. She's still very hurt and traumatized by what happened earlier in the series when he told the boys to try and drown her. So I liked how we got more insight on a side character in this episode. But they also managed to make it funny as well. There's a lot of funny moments. Like one of my favorites is actually, I think this was unintentionally funny, but there's this moment when Sana's confronting.
It's what I think it is it?
I think, yeah. Let me finish. And like they're both wearing bunny suits because they're trying to cheer up Mamie, and like the sad Hayama music is playing in the background, and Sana's like trying to get him to like understand what's happening, and he just like hits the wall with the bunny suit
oversized cartoon feet.
Yeah. And like I don't know if they were trying to make that funny or serious, but either way, it's one of my favorite awkward funny moments from the series.
Also, it just occurred to me, is that the same bunny suit from later, like from season 2, when Sana's trying to get people to sign up for the karate club?
Oh, I
think so.
Forgot about that.
I'm like, deep cut, but that just occurred to me as we were talking about it. Yeah, no, I love this episode because again, it's something that expands, I think, upon and makes the world of Kodocha a bit richer by like delving into some of these like complicated feelings that I think, Obana didn't necessarily have time to fully explore. And so I really like this episode for that reason mostly. And also like poor mommy gets like no features really after her initial debut. And then I think like her only other major episode is the one where she's mad at Sana for not including her in her book.
Like she barely appears at all in season 2. Like she only appears in like the first episode. She only appears in like the first episode and then like the last 2.
Anything else we want to add on Bandage for a Broken Heart? It ranks number 3 for me on my top 5.
I probably should have put that one a little higher. Maybe not within the top, but yeah, it's definitely a good one.
And for me, it was number 5 on my list. So do you guys want to move on to our number 2 spots?
Yeah.
So Karate Heart Quitting Blues, I don't know if I already said this, but again, it was a breather episode. I do like I do appreciate like the growth they've given Akito. Like they're trying to show him like grow up, and at the same time, with Sana, I can't really describe that one. uh, it's more of a strength on Akito's part.
That's fair. Like again, it's not like an episode that I super enjoy, but I respect its placement on your list, I guess.
Like I do like enjoy watching Natsumi like become so wigged out about Akito showing matters.
It's
Yeah.
so good. Yeah, 'cause that, oh my gosh.
And then he tries to
What is an honorific? He doesn't even know. Like,
and then he tries to do that karate chop and just screams out of nowhere, "Ow! Damn it!"
Yeah. Yeah, I enjoy that episode too. And like I mentioned earlier, I did like seeing his growth in that episode and kind of everyone's reaction to it. So did you have any more thoughts on that episode?
No.
So I don't think I was just looking at the list. I don't think we talked about my number 4 either.
I don't think we did.
Yeah. So my number 4 was episode 21, Look Out. It's a pint-sized Aikido. So this was the episode before Karate Heart Quitting Blues. And this is the one where they go to the Kimura Academy and Sana's with Nazumi. And she meets everyone who lives there, and she meets this kid who reminds her of Aikido. He's just really sassy, and he's very standoffish, and kind of a rude little boy. And I thought the interactions with him were really funny. And when Akito and Tsuyoshi arrived too, I thought that was fun.
Boy.
Like all their interactions. And I especially love the part towards the end when like he's trying to make amends, the little boy, I can't remember his name, but like he writes in the sand, and Sana and Nikita are like looking over at it and seeing what he wrote, and she's like, "Welcome home."
Welcome home.
I thought that was funny.
Oh, the bungee thing on the tree. Like,
that was great.
You think she'd learned that if it didn't work for Keto.
I know. Oh, our sweet girl.
Ko didn't even try.
But I also like that episode because I felt like it expanded on something that did happen in the manga, and made it hilarious and fit in with the anime for sure, the vibe. But yeah, good episode.
Yeah, that's a good one. Alrighty, so now I think we're on our number 2 episodes. So my number 2 spot goes to episode 44, Gomi Gomi, Where Are You Going? Which, similarly to Bandage for a Broken Heart, I really love a little bit of insight to Gomi's home life and the pressures that he's been facing, and also just sort of like the aftermath of the Boss Monkey era, and how it's sort of impacted him later in the year, before junior high. So we love a Gomi feature. He comes back in the second season, like him and Hisai are around, which is nice to have them
think
around.
That they're kind of a couple now.
Yeah, I ship it. Like, I'm okay with it. Implied have gone on a date, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
I
Which is ironic because they were so like neck and neck towards each other like throughout the series.
Maybe they were like the background enemies to lovers that like we didn't know.
Which
again basically
was just the
they're basically discount Sana and Akito.
And it was such a missed opportunity that they didn't expand on that. Like, did we really need Gojo when they just could have given us like that whole subplot?
I know. We can talk trash about Takeshi Gojo and that arc all day long. And I mean, if we put together all of the times we've talked about that arc over the course of the podcast, it might be its own episode. Like, we hate that. We hate it violently.
And that they could have expanded on Manny more. Like, try to have her work out something between her and Akito so they could see each other on even better terms than they were.
Yeah. Missed opportunities.
But yeah, I really enjoyed the Gomi episodes. I felt like that was one of the best story plots that felt like it could have been written by Obana. I don't think it was, but like I felt like it was definitely in the spirit of her writing. Because she's always been very good at making us feel empathy for her characters and giving them a very relatable background. And for me, I felt like Gomi's story was very relatable as someone who had a very strict parent. And I think that's why I enjoyed it a lot, because I could relate to him in that arc. I wasn't a bad kid like he is, but I could relate to the feeling the pressure from a parent in that way, and it kind of getting in the way of my happiness and my relationships with my friends. And I really liked how they added that in the anime, because I think a lot of other kids go through that as well. And I'm glad they touched on that.
Yeah. It's a good addition. I don't think I have anything to add beyond what you've said. I think you kind of hit the nail on the head, but it's a good episode. It's a solid episode.
And again, it's a shame that they didn't give Gomi more appearances after during the second season, where again they probably could have cemented him as a recurring supporting character like they did with the first season, but stuff just got in the way.
Yeah, it's one of those things. But anyway, what's your number 2 placement?
Math mess.
It's a great episode.
Miss Ando is crazy. She's probably one of my favorite characters on the show.
I
heard her limbo.
This episode cemented it. She fluctuates between a superhero and a wicked witch all at once.
I know.
No. You understand that she's trying to do good for the school, but at the same time, she's so strict.
I know. It's especially since Miss Mitsuya, God Lover, is, maybe not the best teacher. She's very young,
Yeah.
She's still probably learning classroom management skills, and
I guess Tanaka
Sensei
too.
is a seasoned veteran teacher who is trying to make sure everybody's learning outcomes are being met.
You also gotta appreciate how she's a skinnier, elderly, gray-haired woman, kind of thinner than Shizuka, but a little younger than Shizuka maybe, but still pretty old.
I was gonna say, I feel like it's so hard to tell, because the flash you get when her makeup falls off is so quick. It's are you 100? Are you 50?
I'm at least in my early 60s.
Yeah. Oh man.
Oh god.
It's a great episode. The only thing that I find the thing that I find equal parts funny and kind of okay is the part where the kind of the mini subplot of the episode where Akito is pretending to blackmail teachers again, and Sana's no.
And Sana's just gonna hunt him down, chasing him for 10 minutes straight. A new record according to Aya.
Incredible.
Yeah.
It's a great episode. And I think this is probably, correct me if I'm wrong, you guys, but I think this is the first episode where we learn that Sana is just so bad at math.
Oh yeah.
I can't think of them touching on it earlier.
I feel like it might have been mentioned in passing, but I'm not sure. I might be thinking of the manga.
So a bit of trivia with this episode. Instead of Tomoko Hikita, Babbitt is actually voiced by Mayumi Akado, who voices Yako-chan in Akazukin Cha-Cha. towards the end of the episode, you can like see Babbitt cosplay as Yako, like at the very end. Don't forget your math. Like he dresses up as her.
That's really
That's
interesting.
fun.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
something I just recently found out. Like when I did some research on Akazukin Cha-Cha. Kind of pretty much all I had to say about that. Math Mess is a hilarious episode and definitely relatable.
Yes. I love that. A good choice. Good choice.
Mm-hmm.
Ari, did you want to do your number 2 or do you want to save that? What are you thinking?
I'll go ahead and do that.
Let's go. Tell us about it.
So my number 2 episode on my list was episode 32, Daddy, You're Busted. So I think people who watch my channel know that I'm just a huge Tsuyoshi fan. He's one of my favorite characters. And I love any episode featuring him. So I really love how this kind of expanded on, what's going on with him and his dad. So the episode's basically about his dad gets into a fight in the street and gets arrested and sent to jail. And it's kind of about Tsuyoshi and Aono dealing with the emotions that come along with like realizing that, oh, dad's in jail, and dealing with the bullying that's coming from that at school for the both of them.
Like, yikes. Even Aono's being teased. That's
Yeah, that was honestly the most heartbreaking part of the episode is when she's like crying and she's like, they're telling me that I'm a bad person because my dad's a bad person. And I really liked, kind of similar to how I feel about the Gomi episodes. I like how they touched on this particular topic here. Because I felt like, again, it's a very relatable thing to constantly, compare yourself to your parent or deal with being ashamed of maybe something that your parent did that people know about and feeling like it's a reflection on you. And I like how at the end of this episode, it's kind of realizing that it's not. And I do like how Tsuyoshi deals with his relationship with his father as well. And of course, I like the conclusion of the episode when, they find out that like he basically fought the thugs in the street for a good reason. He was protecting these children that reminded him of his kids. But yeah, I really liked how they tackled this episode. They did it in a very mature way, and I really respect them for that.
And it's also kind of heartbreaking that, like, when he goes on one of his outbursts this time around, Tsuyoshi, it's kind of played for drama a bit and not for comedy. Like, he becomes so horrified that he almost attacks Sana, who was just trying to help him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like that episode too.
Yeah. I don't have a ton to add there because it was always an episode that, like, I don't know, I just never really been able to connect with, but I think you bring up some really interesting points. And I know we've touched on the episode before in the podcast as well. So yeah, so thank you for bringing it up and giving us your why. I like to know why. Well, that only leaves us with one more episode. RetroNova and I have the same number 1 best filler. This might have been one of the first things we bonded over in the server, I think. Also,
love tastes like curry.
Curry, episode 33.
Not sure what curry exactly tastes like, but I'm kind of curious now.
Oh, it's good. You can I'm like, find your local Asian grocery store. They have packets, and it's pretty easy to make. And it is yummy. So do that. But yes, this episode is very silly. Functionally, it becomes a girls versus boys war in the classroom, where Miss Mitsuya and the girls kind of try to have class separately from Mr. Tanaka and the boys who,
and it's just so bizarre how the teachers are feeling it this time around and not like the students. I mean, it was technically Gomi and Issei's fault, but
technically
It's just-
it
the
turns
teachers
into
didn't help.
something else with them like arguing about like the plans for their wedding, and like it's just, yeah, I get a real kick out of it. Their argument about whether or not they should have like a more Western wedding or a more traditional wedding. And but I think the thing that I really love about this episode is that you know, Aya and Tsuyoshi like basically sneak out of the classroom and meet like in the bushes to have lunch together. It's giving like Shakespearean star-crossed lovers as they're
Oh
trying to
Lord,
eat
it's so
together.
melodramatic. It's not
so
even
cute.
funny.
It's
It's
just,
like
yeah.
the scene, the scene before the eye catch is always.
Oh my god. Yeah,
Oh,
it's so it really it's
oh,
yeah,
darling,
it's got it
how
all.
long
It's
did this go on?
truly, it's so silly, but
Get
also
ready, because we
very
gotta turn this
sweet.
mother out.
Yeah, it's just, yeah, it's so silly, it's so sweet. It's to me like it's got all of the things that I love about Kodocha, you know, that
Oh
like
yes.
they got the humor. It feels like a somewhat like it's a amped up and very silly plot, but it does still feel like feasible within the world. And then yeah, I
Miss
just also get a kick out of it.
Miss Sako's advice to Sana,
Yes.
and she actually has to charge her yen for it.
I love it. It's so good. Just just overall a
Take it or
very
leave it.
fun Kodocha-y episode.
Oh, and here's a translation fixation for you. Ms. Messiah is enraged when Mr. Tanaka rudely calls her woman, adding fuel to the fire for their escalating argument. In the original Japanese release, Tanaka shouts "Oi!" at her. That's like the equivalent of shouting, like, hey, rudely at someone, which is not only used by men in a rude and demanding manner, but it's also never advised to not use that towards your lover, let alone, let alone
There
a
you
woman.
go.
Mm-hmm.
Love to see it. RetroNova bringing the translation fixation of the week.
That's me.
Yes.
Incredible. Love it. Yeah, because I didn't rewatch the episode, so I missed that one.
Oh yeah,
That's so fun. That was good. Do we have any other final season 1 filler thoughts? Best, worst, honorable mentions, things that we didn't get to?
Oh, man.
How do we think about 1, 2, 3 sing? That was an okay one.
Yeah, it's entertaining. We got a fun little musical number at the end, but overall, it's not
Hey
my
there, Chubby,
kind
are you
of
getting too
episode.
fat? Hey, boss, do your teeth stick out like a rat? Chugga-bugga, chugga-bugga, chugga-bugga.
Yeah, I do
Word.
love 3-2-1 Sing just because I do like Tomomi and oh, what's her face? The other one, the mean one.
And Tomomi has a really long name in the original. Like, it's hard.
Yeah.
Apparently, Funimation couldn't even, like, translate it fully.
I think that's like, yeah, it's definitely, I always sort of felt like it was part of the gag, is that she has like an insane name. Let's look it up really quick, see if I can say this. Yes. Ayano Hanamaru Koji Tomomi, which is so many syllables. But you know what? God bless Funimation for even thinking about trying, really.
Like, simply translating it as Tomomi.
That's
Ayano.
fine.
Ayano.
Yeah.
Tomomi
I-
Ayano.
I respect it. You know, that's fine.
Yeah.
That's a good episode. That's definitely worthy of an honorable mention.
This might be an unpopular opinion, and I know we're focusing on season 1, but I just want to bring it up. I actually think I prefer, and I think they show up a few more times. I'm not positive if they do, but I like the season 2 equivalent of that episode where it's like
They
I
appear
can't
in
remember.
New York and, like, they're, like,
Yeah,
music's being
in the Footloose town, that was
Yeah, and they're not allowed to sing.
Play
I
music,
really
yeah.
liked that. I
Yeah.
thought that was a cute episode.
Oh.
I liked
Oh.
it more than I thought I would.
I had missed this because like it's what's the name of the episode in season 1 is called like, hold on, 3-2-1 Sing, and then the episode that they appear in season 2 is called One More Song 3-2-1.
Okay.
So that's a little bookend for you that I had just now noticed, which I
Yep.
had never thought about before.
Yeah, they only appear in those 2 episodes.
Okay.
Yeah, their presence is so strong to me that I felt like they were in more, but you're right, it really is only those 2.
Yeah,
Right.
I feel the same way. Like they seem like they should be recurring more, but yeah.
Yeah. Especially just with like any of the entertainment stuff. But then again, like I feel like the anime doesn't spend a lot of time in the studio outside of like Child's Toy maybe, or like a Zenjiro and Hiroshi moment, you know?
Mhm.
Well, hey, I have to have my representation somehow.
There you go. Anything else we want to add? We've been recording for like 2 hours, so
Yeah.
this is going to be a fun edit for M.
Oh boy.
Send coffee.
I don't think I have anything else to add. I think we covered every episode I think should have been talked about. But what about you guys?
Yeah,
Spicy.
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I would my opinion on filler I think is unpopular generally for Kodocha because like it is enjoyable. I would just so much rather they have taken it a different direction, but it sort of is what it is, so I might as well just enjoy myself when we can.
A lot of anime series did that.
It was the 90s. Yeah, like they're just you'd be hard pressed to find any series longer than like 45 episodes that doesn't have. Actually, I take that back. Longer than like 20 episodes that doesn't have at least some filler. So, you know, but it was fun to get to kind of like talk about the merits, the pros and cons of the broader season. So
if we included the actual arc seasons, that would actually be if we included the actual arc episodes, that would have been a real tough.
Man. It would have made it tough. But it also would have made it tough, but it would have made it easy because then that would have just been me dunking on like 5 of the Takeshi Gojo episodes. Like,
okay, good point.
So,
but then, like,
to me, at least this made me like think outside the box a little bit.
But then, you know, the first few episodes, and then episode 13, 14, 15, like those were some really good ones too.
Yeah, it's good. Well, thank you so much for joining us, RetroNova. This was super fun.
I'm honored that I could be on this.
Of course.
Like, yeah, I had a blast, and if I'm being honest, like I told you guys, I was having coffee. Like I was really tired because I ate a lot before it started.
Yeah, same.
But like this whole doing the podcast like really woke me up and just made me like I have a big grin on my face right now. So
yeah, I can't even stop smiling.
Me too. Wholesome. I love us and I love friendship. This is so great. Yeah. Thanks for joining again. This was super fun.
Again, thank you for having me. It's been a real treat. Probably the highlight of the year.
Oh, aww. Don't say that. You'll give us ego problems.
I do plan on like building up my own YouTube channel, and hopefully I can like make some cross references to Kodocha every once in a while and give you both some shout outs as well.
Oh, that's very kind.
It's gonna take some time, you know, I'm kind of a perfectionist and I've still got a whole lot of plans and planning to do, but I'm working on something. Trust me. All
right. Can't wait to see it and support. Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much.
Of course. Do we want to anything we want to add before we say goodbye? I had like one little housekeeping note, but that's about it, I think.
I just wanted to say that like our Kodocha community has like gotten so powerful in the last year, and it's just been amazing for me because like I went from finding this obscure little anime like and being like a huge fan of it and seeing how like there really was no like tight-knit fandom for it, and now it's like the complete opposite of that, and I'm so thankful that we have our community and we're able to talk to each other about this and a whole lot of other topics within, you know, manga and gaming, and I just look forward to that every day.
Same way I feel about Darkstalkers, like that's also been pretty much ignored, but finding more and more people every day, and now with like Capcom Fighting Collection and the Capcom Arcade Stadium games, like they're picking up like popularity again. And Capcom's, I think they're taking notes. Hopefully Shueisha and the folks at Rebun can see that as well. we'll see where it goes. We'll see where it goes. But I'm just a fan of like obscure franchises in general. I've also introduced you both to Napple Tale for the Dreamcast.
Yeah, that was so cool. Like I've been watching a playthrough of that, and I have it installed on my computer, but I just like been playing other things right now. But
it's like yeah, same. But it's like my third favorite Dreamcast game. Like
oh
after
yeah,
Fantasy Star
I
Online.
adore the vibe. Like I said, it reminds me a lot of like Studio Ghibli meets Klonoa, and it's I love it.
And Maya Sakamoto is actually the voice of it. She did Haruhi Fujioka and Oran.
Oh yeah,
She sang. Mm-hmm. She also has a lot of Cardcaptor Sakura ties as well.
Oh yeah,
nice.
Singing the third opening theme and then the first opening theme for Clear Card, and then also an ending theme for Tsubasa, and also voicing characters in the movies and also the show. She can do anything. I believe that with my whole chest. Maya Sakamoto can do anything.
She also voiced Princess Elise in Sonic 06, of all things.
Oh wow.
She's an intense career as like a pop star, a voice actor, a regular actor with her face. Like she can do anything.
Oh man, imagine if she did a theme for Kodocha. Imagine if she did a theme for Kodocha.
I'd lose my mind. Like, because I loved her opening theme for Cardcaptor Sakura so much. Like, that's one of my favorite songs. And then when they had the sequel series came out, Clear Card, and like I turned on the episode like I hadn't like no spoilers, had no prior anything, and I immediately recognized her voice singing the opening theme. And I was like, I was so excited. It felt like such a cool moment. Having her come back and do that.
Yeah.
Anyway, but that's as a rant for another day. But I agree. It is really nice to have our community. And that actually does kind of segue into my little housekeeping note, which was, hey, we actually have a perma link for joining the Kodocha Discord server. So if you have not joined already, or if you've seen one of our previous links and it has expired, please check out the link in our bio and feel free to join us over on Discord at Babbitt's house. All three of us are mods now. Me and RetroNova came on board last month or something. Mm-hmm. It's very chill. It's a very chill server. Everybody's very nice to each other. Like we have maybe one argument every 6 months and it's always over something stupid. So join us. It'll be fun. And that's all I had. Anybody else have anything to add? We're going to sign off.
I think I'm going to sign off.
All right. All right. Well, take it away.
Absolutely. I was just about
Good night, everybody.
Thank you all for joining us for this amazing episode. Again, I had so much fun. And everybody have an amazing rest of your month. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Matane.
Thank you for listening to 19 O'Clock News, a Kodocha podcast.
19 O'Clock News is hosted by That Kodocha Girl and Mahou Shoujo M.
We love making new friends. Feel free to join us in the Kodocha Discord under Kodocha_media.
19 O'Clock News is not affiliated with any current or previous rights holders to Kodomo no Omocha by Miho Obana.